Conjugating verbs in Spanish, regular AR verbs. Now, although we do this all the time in English, conjugation of Spanish verbs seems to be a mystery to many people when they're just starting out. Hopefully this will help to explain that. We use this chart or grid to explain the differences in which person is the subject and its plurality or singularity. Please note that it says first person singular, below that is second person singular, below that is third person singular. On the top right is the plural, we, so that would be first person plural. Below that is second person plural, and below that is third person plural. Now, in order to conjugate verbs, we need to have the subject pronouns. These are they in English. I, first person singular, you, second person singular, he or she, or many cases it, third person singular, we, first person plural, you all, second person plural, they, third person plural. Now the equivalent Spanish subject pronouns are yo, tú, él, ella, usted. The plural side is nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, or ustedes. Now please note that we have two yous in the Spanish. One is a familiar and the other is a formal. I'll explain more of that later. In this slide you see that tú is the you familiar and usted is the you formal. By familiar we mean this is the one that you use when you're talking to someone that you know or you're acquainted with, or you're good friends with, or a family member. Usted is the one you use for everyone else. The plural of usted is ustedes. Now please note that they conjugate exactly the same as third person singular and plural accordingly. Vosotros is the plural of tú, and this is only used in certain areas of Spain, so typically it's not taught in the American classrooms, and it will not be discussed in our classroom as well. Here we have an example of a conjugation in English. We take the infinitive to speak and conjugate it according to the subject. I speak, you speak, he or she speaks, we speak, you all speak, or they speak. In order to conjugate verbs in Spanish, typically you would just remove the ending. In this case we're talking about AR verbs, and add the new ending as you see in the chart here. So if we take this same verb as we used before, to speak, which is hablar in español, we drop the AR as I explained, add the new endings, and come up with yo hablo, tú hablas, él habla, ella habla, usted habla, nosotros hablamos, ellos hablan, ellas hablan, ustedes hablan. One of the major differences in Spanish as opposed to English is that you note that each one in each box is a little different than the other one. So it's not necessary to use the subject pronouns all the time. I could just say hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, or hablan. So turning back to the original chart showing AR verbs, these are regular AR verbs. You drop the ending, which is AR, and add the following endings in order to conjugate the verb correctly for the person or subject speaking. This is true for all regular AR verbs. You can use this to conjugate any of them. Later we'll talk about ER and IR verbs.